Okay, so here we are with ILLYA MARCHENKO, ATP tennis player, YouTuber, partially tennis player, partially YouTuber. No, full time, both tennis player and YouTuber. Here's a man who has lived through the hell and through the horror of the Ukraine fighting and the invasion of Russia, not only now, but when it started back at 2014. And for me, it's a pleasure to have you here, Ilya, with us, with our Spanish speaking audience and with our subscribers that hopefully will get to know you a little bit more and closer way. How are you feeling, man?
Thank you. Well, I'm feeling well. You said I went through the whole horror, but fortunately not. Yes, I was part of it, but I went away when it started in 2014, and I was not in Ukraine when it started on 24th of February. So yeah, I'm kind of. I cannot say that I've seen all the horrors what happened in Ukraine right now, and it's. I can tell you, it's pretty terrible.
But I wanted, you said it yourself, I wanted to start by talking because the war has recently started in a few months ago. People think that the war has started a few months ago, but as you said, this the part of the conflict that is not usually spoken about, started back at 2014, and it hit you, or it has certain bonds to you because you were born, we can see it here on the map, near to the east of Ukraine, near to Donetsk, near to Luhansk, in the Dnipro town. I hope I said it
Almost.
well. It's difficult. I know it's difficult. In the bank of the Dnieper River. As you said, I just wanted you to tell people your struggles and how you had to probably fled the country because the war was closing in on you and on your town, and as we can see here is near the east of Ukraine. So how was it like in 2014 to pack just a couple of bags and never go back again to your hometown?
Well, the information you have is a bit wrong because yes, I
Okay.
was born in that town, but actually I used to live in at
Okay,
that
that's
time,
perfect. That's
2014. I used to live in Donetsk, so
that's
I
even
was there
worse.
when.
That's even worse
Yeah, it's
because
even worse, and they took away Crimea quietly without really fighting, and then they started all these. Independence crap in Eastern
Ukraine, yes,
regions,
yeah.
and I mean, yeah, without Russians, nothing would happen. And even in Ukraine, a lot of people think and thought that it was initiative of people who used to live there in Donetsk and Lugansk,
Yeah.
but actually it was not the case. And yeah, if Russian leaves, like if they leave today, I mean, Donetsk and Lugansk would be a part of Ukraine. And yeah, and as soon as I saw big gun on my street, we packed two bags and we left Donetsk. I used to practice in Germany at that time, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, we took bags like for a couple of weeks. And since then, I never went back. I still have an apartment in Donetsk, and I never went back. My
Wow.
wife did, but yeah, because man, my age, it's kind of suspicious, and I decided not to risk.
If you came back
Yeah,
over there, you would be seen somewhat as suspicious after you left.
not after I left, but the I'm like in that range of
Yeah.
fighting men.
Yeah.
So at the border, I mean, I know people went there and back. It was kind of safe. It was like almost like a normal border, but I didn't
There
feel
was
like
an element of
going.
risk. Yeah. Yeah. And you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like element of risk, and I didn't feel like going there because Donetsk's National Republic is not my republic. I mean, I'm Ukrainian. I was born in Ukraine, and 8 years I lived in Donetsk, and I'm pretty sure that most of the people over there always thought it was Ukraine and still think, and most of the people had to leave to Ukraine or to some other places, and I don't know what uh, what people think who still there. I don't know. don't have many friends
Yeah.
who stayed there. Most of my friends left, and most of my friends were pro-Ukrainians. I mean, it's really difficult to judge the whole region by only your friends, but I can say that from people who I knew, um, less than 10
Yeah.
stayed in Donetsk. So you
Wow.
can imagine the scale. And less than 10 were like pro-Russian who I knew from Donetsk. So
That's pretty bad. That's pretty
it's
bad.
yeah, and when Russians say that they came this time, to protect those Russians I mean, those Russian speaking
Yeah.
Ukrainians
Yeah. Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Donetsk National Republic and Lugansk National Republic. I to be honest, I don't know how many people are there pro-Ukrainians, how many people are pro-Russians. I'm sure there are, because propaganda is strong, and for these 8 years it was tough as well.
Very strong. Yeah.
Yeah, and since 8 years I live in Slovakia, and yeah, when the next step of this war started on 24th, I mean the scale is huge. It's much more than it used to be in Donetsk and Lugansk at that time, and I mean many people are dying, many civilians are dying, and it's completely another level. And they're not pretending to be separatists anymore. They show their Russian flags, and they actually have a quite big support from Russian people back in Russia, which is quite upsetting. And yeah, it is what it is. It's full scale war against Russia.
I don't know when the war will end, but what I'm sure is that the Ukrainian people are showing an incredible resilience, an incredible fight against the invasion of their country. And I really like the bit that you mentioned about the propaganda, because at that time they were claiming, okay, the east of Ukraine is part of Russia and this is like all the same. And as you said, you knew people over there and they weren't pro-Russians and they were forced to leave. So this is like the propaganda that they have been feeding us for a long time, and it somehow, it stays with people's mind. And it's refreshing to hear that from an Ukrainian that lived in Donetsk, and that you can clearly say, okay, this is not what is happening. This is part of Ukraine, and we have seen it with the Shakhtar Donetsk, even with the football team. We have always seen it. This is Ukraine, and they were quietly taking it away without us noticing, which is the worst thing.
Yeah, that's even guys from not from that region, like they thought that like 70, or like they were saying like 80% were supporting Russia, but it was not the case. It was never the case. And yeah, it's propaganda. At that time, probably for Ukraine, it was better to think that way. I don't know. It's
Yeah, it's a
our
difficult topic.
politics.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that time it was revolution going on and everything. It was complicated times, and but now I think for every Ukrainian it's pretty clear what is going on right now, because you cannot hide it anymore. And even I know pro-Russian people are changed their mind already completely, because
I'm
when you see Russians just bombing civil cities, it's changing the fact. I mean, you
yeah.
can talk about any reasoning, anything, like any politics, but for me it ends when their soldiers fighting on our land. You
Yes.
can find excuses. They able to find excuses for themselves why they're doing it, that it was necessary and blah blah blah. But the fact is the same. Their
Yeah.
soldiers are on our land, and our soldiers are protecting our land. So it's pretty simple when you take a look at this from this angle.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I will touch on that later, because you said you knew some Russians who are now changing their mind after everything that's happening. I will ask you later.
Pro-Russian Ukrainians, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's perfect. That's perfect. And I will ask you later about, so especially in terms of the tennis ecosystem. But also, I wanted to ask you, when you left Ukraine in 2014, you have to move to a different country. You said you are living now in Slovakia. How did it? I mean, was it at that time affecting your performance? Was it something, because now some Ukrainian tennis players might relate to that, now that probably they have been living in another parts of Ukraine which were not invaded at that time, and of course, we have seen Svitolina, we have seen other players. How did you deal with it at that time?
It's really difficult to complain when about your performance on a tennis court when people dying and losing their homes. To be honest, but yeah, it was for half a year. I was checking the news. I was, checking on my house. I mean, if my apartment is still there, if some bombs got into it, or I was checking everything news and was trying to be up to date, but then I just let it go completely because, I mean, you cannot at that time, especially, you couldn't really do anything about it, and to be worried, to be under this stress every day is pretty tough. Even now, even it's been like 8 years, but now this
It's worse.
second step and this completely another level of this war, and yeah, I'm under stress as well, maybe a bit less than the other guys because I'm already abroad, and I'm kind of used to that, bad news all the time, but still I'm feeling stress, and again, I cannot like really complain that I'm losing matches because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
today. There are much more important things in life than just losing a tennis match or playing bad for a couple of months.
Absolutely, man, and that's a great take actually. And so going back to when the war started, so we are closing in on like the full, not the war, the full scale invasion started. Okay, and was the talk among the locker room, and did you feel like Ukrainian tennis players started to, be really affected about this, and especially because I know, or maybe you could shed some light on the relationships between Russian, Belarusian, and Ukrainian tennis players. Because from what I can see, there were no problems with, I mean, among you guys, you were all friends, and I don't know if it's friends, but okay, let's say colleagues in the tennis ecosystem. Did you feel that something has changed now, or do you feel like pro-Russian or Russian players could speak out maybe if they weren't damned if they do because of Putin laws on blah blah blah?
Well, I'm someone who has a lot of Russian and Belarusian friends, and over these 8 years, I learned not to speak politics with them because, in fact, it didn't really affect them, and it was kind of useless to, the propaganda is working 24/7, and to change someone's mind, really with your arguments was not really easy and not really possible. And I used to not speak politics with Russians at all. Now things have changed because they are affected. They get all these
Yes.
sanctions and they have all these issues, and now it's a full scale war. Uh, but still, I mean, thankfully, I don't have. I would say many guys who support what Putin have done and is doing.
That's good. That's good.
Thankfully, yeah. But still, the view on this situation is different, obviously, from Ukrainian and Russian players. I know I've posted
Yes.
anonymous interviews of 5 players, and And the line is pretty similar, except only one. The line of answering is pretty similar. That yeah, they are against the war, but they cannot really speak against it because of the law in Russia and their family. And second part that they don't think the sanctions against Russian players are fair because it's not their fault and all those things. But for me, I know for me, it was tough decision. Like if I would have to make that decision to ban them or not to ban them at the beginning. But day after day, it became clearer and clearer that you have like two options to make an adult decision as a sport to ban them, and not because of personal opinions of every single player, but because of what they represent for their home country. You know, because at the home country in Russia, nobody cares if they actually with the flag or without the flag.
Yes.
They kind of used to it since Olympics, since all those you know, tournaments and events. They're kind of used to it. If it's white flag, that it's our man, it's Russian, you know. But they rely their propaganda. Even you saw from that big concert to
Yes.
support invasion and to celebrate the Crimea, so, like I don't know, occupation. I don't know how to call it. Really, how they call it. I'm not sure how they call it. And reunited or something,
Yeah, and the
something like that.
denazification and all of this stuff. Yeah, 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 yeah,
No, no, I
yeah.
mean with the Crimea, you know, because officially it was celebration of this
Yeah. Okay.
reunition
Yeah. Of
of
the
with
Independence Day of
Crimea.
Crimea. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And you see, they take a lot of sportsmen. They show that superiority of the nation with the best athletes of Russia, you know, and they rely on that a lot in that propaganda. So every Russian who competes and winning, and I mean, in our sport, Daniel Medvedev is number two right now, and I mean, they show that you know, superiority of their nation, and most of them, they don't support the war, but it's not about
Supporting
their
or not.
views.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not about supporting or not. And yeah, it's just an adult decision that tennis has to make. And I am, as Ukrainian, for sure, I'm for their whole disqualification. And I hope it ends soon, and that and I believe that Russian tennis players and Belarusian tennis players, they can leave without competing for a couple of months if it helps to save at least a couple of lives in Ukraine, if it helps in our war against Russia and against Putin. So
That's
that's what I think, and that's what I would say. Maybe 99%. I don't know. Actually, I don't know the guy from Ukraine who think the other way.
wow.
From the
Yes.
tennis world, I would say from the tennis. I didn't talk to everyone, but that's my feeling. I would say 99% of the tennis athletes are they support to disqualify, even though we don't have anything personal like
Yes.
against any of the players. I mean, I'm friends. I know they're probably some of them pissed that I think that way, and it's okay to be pissed. And it's okay to think the other way. It's, I mean, you know, democratic society. Probably in Russia they forget what it is, but you know, it's okay to think otherwise. But yeah, that's my
That's true.
opinion.
Yeah, man. Appreciate
I
your
mean,
own.
for us, it's really like what happens if we play against a Russian player right now at the tournament?
Yeah, tough. That's
Uh,
tough. Yeah.
yeah, do you have to play, or you have to
Take a stand.
yeah, take a stand? Or but for me, it's like then you give up, they go to the next round. It's like giving up without
That's
a
true.
fight. It's so it's from both sides. It's bad. I don't know. It's a very difficult situation, even like for Ukrainian players to
Yeah.
decide what to do. I know there are different opinions on this as well.
I appreciate your honesty, man. I really do, and I'm sure people will agree and will love that. You mentioned Daniel Medvedev, and I loved your line about you can go and live without playing tennis for 2 months if it helps to save 2, 3, 4, 5 lives. I really like that line. And you mentioned Medvedev, and we have it here on the screen. We have him here on the screen because
He's the biggest star. What can we do?
exactly. And you saw probably what Wimbledon are planning to, not Wimbledon, but the British government, that they are saying that if Daniel Medvedev doesn't publicly condemn Putin's operations, Putin's invasion, he will not be allowed to travel to Great Britain and to play Wimbledon. Is it? Do you buy this? Do you think that this is something that may happen?
Yeah, they can do that, but to be honest, I just don't like the idea.
Okay,
as I said,
that's perfect.
tennis
Yeah.
has to make clear adult decision to ban them all, or not to ban anyone. I mean, to what if he signs a letter that he doesn't support but he supports? What if he signs he says right now that he doesn't support to be able to play, but later on he will say, yeah, I had to say this because
To play, yes, yes.
to play. I mean, this is I don't like the idea. I think it's a decision has to be made. It's yeah, I just
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. Yeah.
it's kind of like it's something like a backdoor, or I don't know.
We
I mean, they
yeah,
all
go on.
say that sports should be out of politics, but at the same time,
That's not true. That's never true.
yeah, that's not true, and they rely on that in their propaganda a lot in Russia. You cannot say sport is out of politics and then bring sportsmen to the
That's true.
celebration of invasion with these signs and everything. I mean, it cannot be. They stopped. They were showing the match. Borussia Dortmund against Leipzig on their Match TV. It's a Russian sport channel. They stopped showing it on the 11th minute because there were Ukrainian flags all over the place with standing Ukraine with Ukraine and everything. You know, you cannot say sport is out of politics and then do this. It's not logical, you know. So yeah, as I said, I have a lot of friends from Russia, and I mean, it's it's tough decision, but I think we have to make it,
and we have to be better. Maybe that's true. That's true. And I wanted to show you something which I have over here. Let me put it clearly. Yep, here it is. There we go. This is Sergei Stakovsky Instagram feed. If you look at it, and if we go over here, we only see Stakovsky pictures, in the Kiev army. He joined the war. He's leading by example in Ukraine. And not only Stakovsky, but we can see Medvedev over here, your former Davis Cup captain. We also had Alexander Dolgopolov and ex-Ukrainian players which are joining the fight and which are leading by example. We also see here, I really like this, the message from Novak Djokovic asking and giving his support in whichever way needed to the Ukrainian people. And I just wanted to ask you, what about, were you in contact with Stako? Is he a friend of yours? Did you speak with him about it? And how is he feeling? Because he's on the ground, as so to say, and he's seeing it firsthand, and he has witnessed how the world reacts to his words and how the tennis community reacts to his words, because he is able to reach to a lot of tennis players. What do you sense from his point of view? Like, is the tennis community helping him? Do you feel the tennis players are backing him, or this is empty words, only empty words?
Well, Stryker is one of my best friends, and we're in contact with him since he went there, like not every day, but almost every day. And I spoke with him yesterday. And yeah, well, he went there to help. He obviously had some family there. I know they stay with his brother right now, and yeah, he was saying that they've been to Irpin yesterday, and
Yes.
the picture is catastrophic, and they cannot believe what Russian army and what Russians are doing there. It's you
Indescribable.
cannot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I cannot believe it either. It's I'm shocked, and I think that Alexander Kopov and Sergei Stahovsky went there. It's a great example, and it ruins their propaganda that they came there to denazify Ukraine, and like, look, these are tennis players. They are not Nazis in any case. You cannot say that all Ukrainians are Nazis. At this point, when we are protecting our land, it's complete nonsense. And the fact that he went there, it's a big media step. I think it's very good to show like European and other partners of Ukraine that every single Ukrainian is ready to protect Ukraine. And I mean, I admire both of these guys. I mean, I didn't go, and I'm still playing tennis. I don't know if I could be very helpful in there. And my job is to represent Ukraine on an international level. And well, it was not that successful lately, but yeah, I'm trying my best. And
But you are an
still,
ambassador to Ukraine.
yeah,
You should know that.
we played Davis Cup, and
I have it. I
hopefully,
have it also
like,
here. I wanted to ask you about that
interviews
too.
like
Yeah.
this, interviews like this, and I'm trying to. I made a video about the Ukrainian kids who need support. I'm trying to help with getting some more clubs for those kids as well, and a lot of, because I've been there, and that situation when you had to find a place to practice because you cannot go back home anymore. And yeah, we organize an auction. Actually, it's finishing tomorrow. You can buy
The
a t-shirt
Malinovsky
from,
shirt.
yeah,
Yes.
from Malinovsky.
I'll put the link over here, man. I put the link over here so
Yeah.
maybe people will have a look at it.
So I mean, I'm trying to be useful. I know it's not enough, and I admire those guys because they were not afraid to go back. And I know they didn't fight in real fight so far, but I mean, to have a courage to go back to Kiev, that situation, I think it's worth of admiration. And yeah, as I said, I'm in contact with Stako. I'm asking how he is every day, and with Dolgo sometimes, but we also in contact as well.
You're getting emotional, I sense. With
Well, I mean, a lot of
I
my
love
friends
that.
are there. And
I love that, actually.
a lot of my friends are there, and I mean, it's just, and you never know. Lately, I found out that I didn't know that he was not in prison, but captured by Russians. I didn't know that, and I found out yesterday that one of my former fitness coaches, he was I think for 30 days or something. He was captured by Russians, and he got
No way.
freedom like yesterday. Yeah, I didn't know that, and yeah, it's disaster. It's difficult to describe what is going on, and what is going on in your head, in your in your heart and everything. And I mean,
Yeah, man.
I'm just trying to be
absolutely.
useful in my place.
You can take your time if you want. I love the honesty, and I can sense that you're getting emotional, and I feel this is good for people. So you are, even though you don't know it, you're raising awareness with a level, and people are starting to know what's going on inside your head. Because maybe sometimes people, they look at sportsmen, they look at tennis players, and we kind of see them as, these superhuman people which play week in, week out. And it's good to know, someone here who has feelings and who is suffering because of the war. And I don't know how you actually gather the strength and gather the necessary focus to play tennis, but not only to play a match, to go weekend. You go to France, you went to France this week, you played in Saint-Brieuc. Now you probably go to another European city to play another challenger, even though you know that your family is in Ukraine, and your head, as Svitolina, for example, said, your head and your heart are there. How do you do it? I mean, that's a legit question, and I feel like it's really difficult to answer that one.
Well, yeah, it's really difficult to explain, but as I said, yeah, I'm kind of, since 8 years, I'm kind of used to it, and so maybe I have thicker skin than other Ukrainians, but you cannot, avoid checking the phone with the news and everything. It's every day more and more details what Russians are doing in Ukrainian cities, and I mean I've seen some interviews from regular Russians on the street in Russia, and the things they say, it's I mean I cannot believe it. It's difficult to accept that a lot of Russians actually support this war.
That's true. That's true. But that's the propaganda which is doing that. So maybe just to be wrapping things up, because I don't want to take you too much of your time. And so maybe there's a way you can share to people. You mentioned that you're doing an action, and you mentioned that there's some tennis clubs who are, and you try to send the message that if there are some tennis clubs to with the initiative to find Ukrainian refugees and to let them play tennis, which is the dream of a lot of kids from Ukraine all over the world, and they can't do it. So is there a way like you could tell to people, or what initiatives they could start supporting, or whatever, even if it's helping a humanitarian relief fund, but just to raise awareness, to send a message to the people that are hearing us right now, and that are watching this chat, this talk. It's not an interview, it's a chat about the thing that's going on.
Well, yeah, we made this campaign to bring the clubs and academies who can host Ukrainian players who is not able to go back, and I'm really happy to say that a lot of clubs actually have sent their propositions, and somebody could give only courts, somebody was prepared better, some with accommodation, somebody was even giving some money, food, free food, everything. And yeah, we have a lot of options right now, and in Spain it's on the national level, its federation is helping. So yeah, big thanks to all those clubs and organizations and federations who were willing to help and who is helping right now. It's big help. And yeah, if you have a free apartment, it's yeah, just let Ukrainians know, because this is the most difficult part, to find a free place to live right now, especially in the countries who is at the border with Ukraine. And yeah, again, very big thanks to all the people. We had even from India, somebody even
Wow.
proposed to from India, US, Canada. I'm yeah.
They can
It's
they can reach out to you, to one of your mail, right? Mail
yeah, they
address.
can reach to my email.
We'll put it
You
over
probably
here.
have
We'll
it.
put it in the description, Ilya, so just people
Yeah,
can reach there.
or you can reach our federation, or fund of Svitolina is doing a lot as well. So yeah, we are. I mean, I'm just helping to bring those clubs to the federation, and Helena Svitolina's fund. I'm not really organizing the Ukrainian kids myself. I don't have the lists and everything. But yeah, I know that most of the professional, like more or less professional guys, they found already some place, and now it's more like all the kids, like 10 years old, 9 years old, they look for a place to stay and maybe play tennis as well at the same time. And those people are, I mean, we have a lot of people in Ukraine, first of all, and we have a lot of kids who play tennis.
So before my internet completely goes off and the image goes in a different level to the audio, I just wanted to say a big thank you, Ilya, for being here with us, for raising awareness, for sharing your stories, for sharing, because you actually let your heart do the talking, and you showed your colors, and you showed people the struggles of Ukrainian, even though you might not be present there, but you are present with your heart, and you're doing a lot for the Ukrainian cause by raising awareness, by playing with the Ukrainian flag. I can't even fathom what it was like to play Davis Cup in an empty... Well, I can because I saw your video on YouTube, which I will leave over here, but I cannot even fathom how it is to play tennis, knowing that you should be playing at home with a full packed crowd, and you are in just a tennis club in Turkey with no fans, knowing that they are maybe struggling and they are maybe being bombed next to the doors. I don't know how, maybe just to wrap up, because it came up to me, maybe to wrap up how it was like to play tennis for your country, not in your country.
Well, it's not the first time it happened to us. They moved our match against Belgium a couple of years ago.
That's true.
And it was actually playoffs to the World Group. And that one was important. Of course, it was not during the war. The active war. But yeah, it was kind of surreal. We just played it. This was not even the club. It was a hotel with tennis courts, all inclusive. In Turkey, it was the easiest way to organize, everything quick. And both kids were Ukrainians who actually played the tournament in Turkey, and they stuck in there because they couldn't go back home, and they finished the tournament there. So yeah, just simple tennis players who are stuck in Turkey. And from organization stuff, we had like 3 guys who fortunately at that time was abroad, and we were lucky that all of our players were abroad, but not the captain and not the coach, not the physiotherapist. Those were like, we had to choose the captain from the team, and we had to take a massage therapist from Turkey, local one. So yeah, it was, the level of opposition was much lower than ours, so it was enough. And we had some issues, even health issues. During the time, we could only use 2 players, so me and Kruti, we played all the matches. Yeah, it was enough, and good that we won, good that we brought the win to Ukraine. And but I know a lot of guys I made an interview as well for my channel, and a lot of guys were thinking about completely different things than tennis at that time. Still right now.
So man, thank you very much for being honest, for being here with us.
Thank you for inviting. That's the least I can do for my country right now, to give interviews and to spread awareness of the situation.
Were you comfortable? I'm not going to ask if you enjoyed, because you never enjoy talking about those things, but at least,
Yeah. It was great. Yeah, thank you very much.
So I'm going to leave here your channel, so people subscribe to your channel, because you're a pro player and also a YouTuber, and your quality of videos is astonishing. Is there anything you want to say to promote your channel now?
No, I don't. I don't think it's like humor channel. It's these days I have to think what to post and what not to post, because what is going to be appropriate at these times. And
Yeah.
but I mean, after 1 month of the war, everyone is pretty tired emotionally and physically, and yeah. But lately, my videos are not that fun anymore, unfortunately.
Well, there's still plenty of time, hopefully, when everything, ends, which is hopefully soon, and with a I'm not going to say successful, because there are no winners. The only victims are the Ukrainian civilians, which are suffering. But hopefully everything ends soon, at least the bombing, at least the invasion, the full-scale invasion, and you can go back to do what you love, play tennis, and what you also love, which is to make YouTube videos from, also sneak peeks from the different tournaments you travel in. I highly recommend everyone to watch your channel. So thank you once again, Ilya, for being here with us. You are the first English interview in our channel. So you are
Okay.
you are privileged.
It's an honor.
It's an honor, but
It's a lot of translation you'll have to do.
yeah, well, yeah,
I know
that's
what it is. I know
you
what
know
it
what it
is.
is. That's the worst part. You know it. But I'll gladly do it, because this was really worth it. So once again, thank you, Ilya, and I invite everyone to subscribe to Ilya channel. We'll leave it over here. Yes, up over there. And thank you once again, Ilya.
Thank you.